Okay, hello everyone. I think we can start now. Maybe I can start with a joke. How many engineers do you need to start screen sharing? Apparently a lot. But welcome everyone to my talk. Today I'll be telling you about various feedback techniques and A/B testing in Flutter mobile apps. And few words about me. My name is Alicja Ogonowska. I'm from Gliwice, so welcome in my city. And I work as a senior mobile engineer at OLX. And OLX is not just the famous marketplace, it's also various different popular products like Otomoto or Otodom and similar products across different countries. So if you have any complaints about getting scammed at OLX, sorry, I work for Otodom. The only scam that we have there is the real estate prices. And OLX is right now often recruiting for Flutter roles. Currently not, but take a look at the jobs page because I'm pretty sure something may open again soon. And let's start with the topic of today's presentation. So have you ever wondered why or if the user feedback even matter? And I'm going to show you today that or just did any other happy action, they are happy, so they are more likely to give you 5 stars and maybe a nice review. And you can use in-app review package for that. This uses native APIs under the hood, so when you will be calling that in your code, it may or may not be shown because native APIs limit the amount of times those review prompts can be displayed, so that your users are not spammed with asking for review. Or you can alternatively just direct them to the store listing, and this works every time, and then they can decide what they want to do with your application. But remember to regularly check the reviews, probably also answer them. And I had a situation back a few years ago when users were bombing us with reviews, asking for a very obvious, for this kind of app, feature. And yet our management was always focused on the users didn't really care about. And guess what? The users were not happy, and that resulted in a lot of negative reviews. And everyone was wondering, whoa, how could that happen? We just gave them a new app icon and they are still not happy. They are still asking for something that is, like they couldn't understand that. And actually checking store reviews is a very good option if you feel that your backlog is running kind of empty, because you can just check what users are asking for and you have next to sprint plan. Another thing that you can implement in your apps are small interaction-based surveys. So this is the kind of survey that you also display to your user, and it should be very short, and ideally it should be answered with one word or even an emoji. And this example here is from Krakow Airport, where you can rate your toilet experience, but I have some other ideas for you, more suitable for mobile apps. For example, you can ask your user how was their purchase experience at the order confirmation screen, or ask if the support was helpful after they finished the chat session with support, or ask how they rate the tutorial that you provided. And you can track their answers with just your regular analytics tools, and later you will know if they liked it or there is something to be improved here. Another thing that you can consider are power user surveys. And if you are wondering what a power user is, those are users that use your app most extensively. They maybe use it every day, they know it very well, so their feedback will be invaluable for you. And you can identify them. For that, you will have to dig a bit deeper into your data, probably not even analytics, but rather a database. And depending on what your app is about, you have to look for users who maybe use your app every day, have the longest streak or the longest levels completed, and then you have to reach out to them. And you can do that using a personalized email message or even an in-app message in the application. And then you can give them, I don't know, for example, a link to a more complex survey where they can give their detailed feedback. But remember that you have to give them something for that, because they are offering you their time. So at least give them a promo code or early access to some features so that they will feel seen and appreciated. And there's also a cool tool that I would like to show you. It's called WireDash. And it's built in Flutter, for Flutter, by Flutter devs. It's an open source tool that gives you three main features, and it's in-app feedback tool, private analytics, and net promoter score service. And it also has a free tier, so even if your budget is not enormous, you can still start using that. And launching it in the application is super simple, because all you have to do is wrap your application in a WireDash widget and provide your project ID and secret that you generate on the website. And to be honest, this setup took me like 3 minutes, and 2 of them I spent setting up the environment variable on my machine. And then, in order to show the feedback tool, all you have to do is call WireDash of context.show. And how it looks like. I have a simple e-commerce application. So when you click on a button, your application goes a bit down, a screenshot is taken, a user can type their comment, add the screenshot, they can even doodle on the screenshot and just send that to you. So you are able to quickly get their feedback, and they never left the application, so there is a lower chance of them just losing interest, and if they exited the app anyway, they forgot what they were shopping for. If you are afraid that your user may accidentally screenshot something confidential and you will have to handle some sensitive screenshots, you can wrap any sensitive content in a confidential widget, and then it will be obscured on the screenshot. And this is how it looks like on the dashboard. You get access to all those valuable feedbacks, like something is wrong, something broke. Currently, I am using a similar tool in my project, not WireDash, but a different one. And yeah, many feedbacks are valuable, but sometimes a user just use it almost like a note tool, but sometimes it's funny to read through that. And another thing that you could use is the promoter score service. So Net Promoter Score is a way of measuring how likely are the users to recommend your app to their friends or family. And this survey is displayed in a similar manner to the feedback tool. So basically your app just goes a bit down, and the user can answer a short survey. And WireDash takes care of probably displaying this survey, because you don't want to spam your users too often. So even if you will trigger it in the code, for example, at order success screen or stuff like that, then WireDash will decide if it's time to display that, or the user has to wait another 90 days to see the survey. And all of those tools are quite easy to use. They give you almost immediate results, but all of them require actually asking your users for opinion. And there is a cool tool or technique that you can use to get to know your users, their needs and their preferences without actually asking them. And this technique is called A/B testing. So A/B testing means exposing part of your users to a different version of the application or a feature and deciding which version performs better. So take a look at this example. I drew it. And 50% of the users will get version A, which is called usually a variant, and the default one, the one that we already had, is called baseline. And let's say I change something on the main screen, and in variant B, the user will get a lot more blue. And I want to check how it will perform. And in here, by using the word performance, I don't mean the technical performance, but rather how well the users are using your app. And usually you can measure this kind of performance by some conversion events, basically your analytics events. So this is very related. And after two groups of users are using two variants of your application, and you can see which one is interacting with them better. After that, you can decide, okay, this one is the winner, this one got, for example, 20% maybe purchases, maybe something else, and you can automatically roll out this variant to all your users. And you may be thinking, okay, but doesn't it double the work? Anyway, I have to implement two versions of the application and release it to all users, so like, where's the benefit? So, of course, this is short-term effort. You have to implement two versions of your application, but this will result in long-term gains because for the fact that the app already has those two versions of the code, you can automatically release it. So let's say you want to test some of your ideas, and first you release one version, you wait for all the users to get this version, then you measure the data, okay, this performed like this. Now I'm implementing the second version, releasing it, waiting for all the users to get the update and actually update it. And then maybe the first one was better, so you have to make a third release, and this will take a lot of time. And with A/B testing, you are able to make informed decisions, because if you want to try something out, you can try this idea on a smaller group of users, and maybe it will be a success, maybe not. If not, then just roll out the better version to all the users, which is likely to contribute to higher conversion rates, because you will be checking your analytics closely. You will be improving the application with a specific goal in mind, so you are optimizing it. And also using A/B testing lets you minimize risk of poor changes, because as I said, sometimes we think, okay, this change, this will be a breaking change in a good way. Like now my app will be a success, but probably it won't be. Maybe it will be a little better, then it is a success in this world, but maybe it will perform even worse, and then you just go back to the previous version. Or let's say one of the variants that you just implemented has some bugs. It can happen. Then at this point, you don't care about your test anymore. You just roll out the working variant to everyone, and that's the end of it. And before we move forward, I have to do some statistical theory. And I wanted to ask you, who had statistics at university? Okay. And who enjoyed statistics at the university? Okay, so correct me if I will say something wrong, but there will be some words and terms that will be appearing a lot. So the most important one that will be seen a lot around A/B testing is statistical significance, and this will tell you if the results are actually worth something. Because maybe you run the test, you see the results, and you think, oh, I think I see the winner, but the statistics will tell you, run the test a bit longer or run it again on a different group of users, and the results will be completely different. This was random, this was just luck. And we don't want to have luck, we want to make informed decisions here. Then you have confidence level here, and for example, if we have confidence level of 95%, we agree that there is a 5% chance that the results are actually random. So we want to have, the highest confidence level possible. Also the p-value, this defines the probability of, I forgot, and I think I will mix p-value with power. So they are all very important, and the p-value should be below 0.05, and I forgot my notes, but I will get back to it. And when it comes to sample size, this defines the number of users that you should run your test on in order to get some valuable data. And there are even online calculators that can do all the fun math for you, so you can do that. Of course, if you will be using external tools for A/B testing, this is all covered, so you won't have to do calculations on your own, don't worry, unless you want to. And if your app is not that big, then you can just go ahead and use your whole users group as the sample group. And power means the probability of detecting a change if there actually is one. And usually we aim for about 80% power. And if you want to design an A/B test, I can show you some simple steps how you can approach that. So first you need to define your goal, and this goal has to be specific and measurable, because you cannot just say, oh, I want my app to be better, or I want my app to be more liked by the users, because how are you going to measure if you actually achieve that? But you can say, I want more users to finish onboarding, I want more users to sign in, or I want more users to purchase a product. And after that, you can hypothesize the change, and this is where you brainstorm and come up with ideas. So for example, if you want more users to finish onboarding, maybe you have to shorten it or make it easier to complete. Or if you want more purchases, maybe you have to change something with your purchase button so that it's more obvious that you have to click here and stuff like that. And after that, you actually implement those 2 or more variants in your application, and you decide how to, which group of the users will see which variant, and also split the audience. And usually you would do that using one of the tools that I will show you in a minute. But yeah, you could do that on your own, but then you would have to take care of assigning the users randomly, always assigning them to the same audience and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty rare to actually do that on your own. And after that, you have to release the version, collect the data, analyze it, and after you get meaningful results, roll out the winner. And you can start preparing for a new A/B test, because this is rather a continuous process. So there is always something that can be better, that can be improved, so you can just start again. And now I'm going to show you a simple example of how you could approach that. So my goal would be to increase the number of purchases in the app. So I had this simple e-commerce app, and my hypothesis that I want to test is that if the add to cart button will be more visible, more eye-catching, the users will buy more products. And this is how it would look like. So in the beginning, I had this blue. Okay, here it's blue. On my screen, it's the kind of color that even I cannot name. And I want to test the yellow version because, yeah, more yellow is always better. And in the code, it's almost just like an if. You decide based on some condition, and some users will see the orange version, and some users will see the primary color that I had. And the state config comes from a qubit, because I'm a block fan, so I'm going to be using qubit for that. So this is where state comes from. And when it comes to config, config contains all the experiments that I have in my application. So experiment is just an abstract class that has some key to identify it and a value that it holds. And yeah, I created like a general class to hold all experiments so that I have easy access to all of them. And in here, I just have one experiment that will be add to cart accent color. So I'll be deciding whether the add to cart should have the accent color or the default one. And in the qubit, all I'm doing is actually getting the values from the repository, which is just a middleware to get data from the data source. And until now, this is very generic. Actually, behind that, you can have anything, even your mocked class, and you can start working with just that before you connect with any external service. And important thing that you have to remember about, of course, analytics is a must when you want to do A/B testing, because you need a way to measure how your test is performing. And in here, it's just logging an event, and I added a separate method for purchases, because as I noticed, most of the analytics tools already have separate methods for some special events like purchases. And for the first example, I'll be using Firebase A/B testing, which is using remote config and Google Analytics under the hood. And because it's free, all of the free tools are free. And many apps already use Firebase, so it's quite an obvious decision to use that. You usually don't need much discussion or asking if you can actually use that. And yeah, in here, this is just fetching the data from remote config. So if you've never used remote config from Firebase, what you have to do when you initialize the application is fetch all the values and activate it. And then you can just get the given remote value using the key. And for analytics, it's just logging the event and logging the purchase. And in Firebase, you create the experiment there. Actually, when it comes to the code part, you are done, and you can start configuring it on the website. And you can create experiment from the A/B testing tab. You have to name the experiment, you can add a description, then you target your application. So in Flutter, in Firebase, the Android and iOS app will be separate apps. And one important note, although Firebase remote config is available on Flutter Web, A/B testing is not. I don't know, but yeah, just information. And you can decide how many users will actually be part of your experiment. So as I mentioned, if you don't have thousands of users, then just move the slider to 100%, because otherwise you won't get enough data. And you can also specify an activation event, which totally makes sense, because sometimes maybe you don't want all the users to be automatically in the experiment. Maybe they have to do something first, like finish an onboarding or enter a specific part of your application. And then there are some further options of targeting. You can select app version, a language, country, region, so quite some options to choose from. And then you have to decide what will be your goal. And there are some pre-configured goals, like your purchase revenue or ad revenue, stuff like that. But you can just use your analytics events in here, and then you can select that this will be your goal, and later in the stats, this will be a criteria to measure how your experiment performs. And in here you can define the variants that you want to use. So the default one is called baseline, then you can create variant A and up to, yeah, I'm not sure if there is a limit, but probably it makes no sense to make too many. But one thing to remember, if you add your remote config value directly from the A/B testing tab, then by default it will be created as a string value. And maybe this is not what you want. So what you can do is, in such situation, you should first create the value in the remote config tab, and then you can select if it's a string, boolean, JSON, or a number. And you can decide how the audience should be splitted. So I went with a simple 50-50. And what you can also do, which can be useful, you can add your Firebase Cloud messaging token. So it's something unrelated, but it's Firebase work. So this lets you say that, okay, this is my test device. I know the token because I read it from the debug logs, and I want to be 100% sure that on this device I will get this variant. So it's useful for testing. And this is how the experiment page looks like when you and your second device are the only ones clicking it. So you won't see any meaningful data. Unfortunately, for A/B testing, you actually need an audience. So yeah, this is the app that I created for the presentation, and yeah, no data, no results. But I have some from my archives. So this was a test that was running already on 2,000 users, and the results were still not super obvious. So the test was still continuing. But I have a screenshot of a test that actually ran, and it ended in some kind of success because there was an improvement. So the test ran on 160K users, and as if you would check the date, it actually ran for about 3 months. So definitely A/B testing is a game for patient people, but it pays out because you can improve your application. And another thing is that whenever a user is part of an experiment, they are assigned a custom analytics user property that is called Firebase experiment and the number of the experiment. And you can get the number of the experiment from the URL when you are checking the experiment. Can I get something to drink? Ale nie musi. Okay, so this is something that is worth knowing because sometimes, while Firebase is good, it's easy to use, it's a bit limited if your app is more complex, especially if your analytics is more complex, because when you are selecting the goal, you can just select the event that is your goal. But what if you also care about the parameters, or what if you care about the funnel, so multiple events one after another? Then the console is not enough for you, and it will not give you meaningful data. But because you have all your analytics and you have these custom properties, you can actually make queries. You're using BigQuery, and then you get all the detailed data, but it's not very pleasant to write those queries. And also BigQuery is a paid tool, so if you will start doing such complex checks, then you will probably also start looking for a more bigger solution. And another tool that you could check out is called PostHoc, and it offers you also analytics, feature flags, A/B testing, and some various other tools. It also has some free tier, so it's generally a paid solution, but quite generous. So for starting out, it's surely good. And in here, because my code was very generic, I only have to change like 2 classes. So to get the remote values from PostHoc, you just get a feature flag. They're actually handled as feature flag there, and all of them are kept as strings. So one inconvenience that you have to do the parsing on your own. And analytics is very similar as well. Instead of track event, it's just capture. So all you have to do is switch that instead of using Firebase. And in the console, you have to, again, define the name of your experiment, what will be your feature flag key, and then you can create different variants. And what is already better in here that Firebase doesn't have is when you are selecting your goal, you don't have to limit yourself to a single event. You can create a funnel, so you can test out more complex scenarios than just checking how many times the user triggered a purchase. Maybe he has to do something else after that. So this tool gives you a better overview of the results. Also, even if you will not want to use the conversion tunnel, but different option, then again, the amount of options that you can check from is much more detailed. And what I liked in post hoc as a first-time user is that it was actually holding my hand the whole time. So on every page there was a fragment with code snippets in different languages, even in for Flutter. So I knew what I have to put in the code. So that was if someone is just starting, then like you cannot fail here. And then again, the result page is not very impressive because I think showing topics like A/B testing is hard if you don't have access to some real-world examples, because again, this is something that only I was clicking, and I made one purchase, so I cannot call it a success. But there are some other tools, but they are paid ones. So for example, Optimizely and Amplitude both have they are very focused on A/B testing, and their docs look quite amazing, but it's mainly marketing, blah, 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 and you cannot even try it out because when you want to start using it, you get the banner contact sales. So if you are working for a bigger company, then for sure this is something to consider. I once worked with Amplitude, not with A/B testing, but with analytics. And I remember that the dashboards, the funnels, they were really impressive. You can also use Unleash with Mixpanel. This is something that you can try out, but it's also probably you will have to pay a bit for that. There's also Launch Darkly, so there are many various tools. And to be honest, the basics are the same. What you have in the code is, I would say, minimal. So I think most of the work is actually happening by brainstorming and thinking what you could actually change. And you may be thinking, okay, but in my project, I don't even decide what task we'll be doing next sprint. How can I suddenly say, we'll be doing A/B testing? So if you're an indie dev, then you can, and what is stopping you from starting from tomorrow? But if you are working for a bigger company and you cannot just simply make that decision, you can start by educating your team, because maybe your product owner doesn't know that there is such a tool, or thinks it's super complicated and there will be no way to actually put that in the backlog. So you can educate them, and you can also help your management, project manager, product owner. You can approach them and say, hey, I have this idea, maybe we could do some testing. And then just imagine after a few months there will be an all-hands call with whole company, and you can present great success. We are now a data-driven company. We did a test, we gathered data, and we made a decision based on that. I think data-driven is even a better buzzword than AI. So if you will use an AI A/B testing tool, then you will be the employee of the year. And there are some best practices that I want to share with you. And first of all, probably test one variable at a time because if you'll be changing too much or running multiple tests at the same time, then the results will be blurry, and you will not be able to say what for sure caused the change. And in here, we want to make informed decisions, data-driven decisions, and not the guesswork, not relying on luck. Then ensure that you have a large enough group. So if your app is super small, just you and your friends, then just use the feedback form, and that will be enough. No need for A/B testing. But if you have a huge user base, then use them and actually measure the results on them. Also, it's important to leave a backdoor for testing. So on Firebase, I showed you the cloud messaging token that you can add. Usually the other tools also have some option to say that, for example, this logged in user will get this variant, but it's useful to have that. If you have some kind of a debug menu, it would be great to have a backdoor so that you can select which variant are you seeing, or at least what you should do is have a way of quickly checking which user has which variant, because I had a situation where, of course, someone important like a CTO was coming to our team and saying, hey, why don't I see that? And usually you are saying, yeah, maybe you are in the variant B, and they don't see that. But until you had the chance to check that, it was just guesswork. So it would be nice to even have it just somewhere in the settings or menu to print all the variants or feature flags that the user actually has. And unfortunately, you have to be patient, because A/B testing is not a sprint, probably 2 or 3 or 4, but rather a marathon. So don't rush, just run the test and wait for the results. And also you can target specific app versions. So this is something to keep in mind, because, for example, you don't want the users who have some older version of the application to be considered for this test if, for example, they don't actually have the code that contains the changes. So keep that in mind. And also don't give up if at first the results are not spectacular. Just come up with a different idea, and one day it will be a success. And I have some other ideas for you, what you can A/B test apart from just your code. And for example, in Firebase, you can also A/B test push notifications and in-app messages. And all of the marketing tools that I used in the past usually also have this option. So it's a cool option to actually check what performs better with your users. You can let your marketing team know that it's possible. For example, if they are sending a campaign, they can differentiate it between users, and then later maybe they will know that this kind of message resonates better with the users. Also, for example, Revenue Cut allows you to A/B test your pricing or your paywalls, so you can actually try out what is more attractive to your users. For example, I once read an article that actually rising prices leads to more purchases. So it's not like the lowest price is always the better. Probably users think, oh, if it's expensive, then for sure it's good. If it's cheap, then yeah, I don't want it. And also you can A/B test store listings. So both Google Play Store and App Store have this option. So you can check what is more attractive to your users and encourage us to download your application more. And thank you for your attention. Here is a QR code with a small survey, just a rating and some comment if you want. And I'll be glad if you could give me some feedback. And after you finish the feedback form, there will be a link to slides. So if you want to get back to it, then you can. And I want to take a picture. And thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, then you can Do you have any questions?
If someone have a question, come closer because we have a wired connection today.
I got a question about A/B testing this presentation. Is this like A version or B version of this presentation?
It's a B, already B, yes.
Good question.
Okay, let me start by saying thank you very much for this presentation. It was very informative. And my question is, so you mentioned that you need to have some kind of amount of users in your application already in order to introduce A/B testing. What do you think is like the minimal amount of users is in order to get any result from A/B testing?
the statistics may be disagreeing with me, so there are tools to calculate that, but I would say like a few thousand users is a minimum to even start thinking about A/B testing. And then, of course, running the test on all of them and splitting them in half.
Do you mean this is like the daily active users number or number of users in total?
I would say monthly, because the test will be running for, I would say, at least a month. Then I think monthly active users, something like that. So.
Okay, thank you.
I think I have a question. Consider you have a product manager and you are a software developer, and he gets to you and asks how much time you need to implement those kinds of tests, and how do you think how much time a software developer needs to take to do those tests and to integrate that?
Okay, so I would assume that we already have analytics because, usually the apps have that. If you don't and you want to start A/B testing, then there is of course more work because you would have to start with analytics. But to be honest, just preparing the A/B testing, I would say it's a task one developer can do during a sprint and also work on some other tickets because as I showed you in the code, you just have to get some remote values and then in each experiment display A or display B. So it's not that complex. I think it depends on how deep you want to go in your architecture of everything, because the solution I showed was simple, but I know that for some it's not a simple task and they need to write a request for comments, document and design everything and stuff like that. So but to be honest, if I as a developer I would like to have A/B testing, so I would say I can do that during a sprint.
Okay.
Okay, I don't see more questions. So thank you once more.